Hey all, so this will be, sorry I haven't done some videos in a while. This will be one of several I'm doing right now. Anyway, this one is on ignorance. Ignorance is not a virtue, and I suggest that everyone go out and learn every single day, all they can, all day long. Even if it's not convenient, it doesn't mean you can't do it later. I work weekends, and I don't always learn anything during work. But sometimes I do. I'm open to the possibilities. I will listen to my coworkers, some of whom are very stupid, several of whom are quite smart. And I just keep learning, keep learning, keep learning. You wonder what my program was for dealing with the concussion effects and the brain damage that I suffered 3 years ago, 3.5 years ago now. It was to one of the many things I did was to keep learning, to try to force my brain to think. It has not been easy. I have my good days and bad days. Even now, as you can listen to my voice, I can kind of keep the pace, and then I lose my train of thought, and I can keep the pace. I don't know if that was me normally. I can't remember, sadly. I wasn't really paying attention to how my brain worked before I really damaged it. But ignorance is not a virtue. Not knowing something does not mean that you're better. I believe that you should know the Bill of Rights. You should know the Constitution. Do you have to know it like a lawyer? No, but you should be familiar with it. You should be familiar with all the amendments. You should read through them. And if any of them have a quality for you, then this is as an American. Those of you who watch who are not Americans, take this same idea about knowing about your own government and your own laws and apply it there. And You should know about them. So this is a physical process, right to petition the government, freedom of religion, freedom of press, freedom of speech, firearms, yada, yada, yada. You don't have to belong to a religion, but you should understand why this was important to people. You don't have to run a paper, but you should understand why it was important. You don't have to constantly utter what you think, but you should understand why it's important. When it comes to guns, you don't ever have to own a gun, but I do believe you owe it to yourself a duty to go down to the range and take a safety class. Maybe go out into the woods, the backwoods, wherever, but arrange for a safe way with a trained person to learn about firearms, learn, which end goes bang, how to keep that from happening, the various rules on firearms. The NRA runs a hunter safety course, at least when I took it 23 years ago. They did, and if they still do, it's a wonderful course. It also teaches you a lot about what to do when you're lost, how to survive in the woods, so on and so forth. It's an honest to God all around halfway decent survival course. You don't actually go out into the woods, at least in mine. It was just book learning. And then at the end, the physical part was, there were some demonstrations of how to start a fire. And then at the end, they just took a basic 22 rifle, and they went the ins and outs. They had you fire a couple shots. You're like, okay. And I felt very, very confident because of that course. Should I ever get I already knew how to use a gun, but should I ever get lost, I would be able to survive. That on top of my winter and summer survival training I received in elementary school. So yeah. Anyway, learn about your rights. Learn about English common law, for example. It's just to go along with this whole U.S. Constitution thing. Learn about English common law in the general ideas about what was it about. Learn, the basic ideas of self-defense. You could ignore castle law, ignore all that. Just what's the general idea of self-defense? Well, as it turns out, there's kind of an international standard. And it goes that if someone's attacking you, feel free to attack them back until you're safe. And, and unfortunately, in some countries, you have a duty to flee, which I think is sort of silly. I don't mind fleeing. I'm a big fan of fleeing, but sometimes you got to make that safe space where the other guy can't hurt you. And yes, I'm speaking from experience. And then you can flee. As one instructor put it to me, if he can't see because you broke his nose, because you bloodied his nose, and he can't breathe because you smashed him in the stomach, He, it, and he limps a little because you kicked him in the knee, and it's swelling up. You haven't broke anything. You just bruised it. All of a sudden you're going to escape a lot better because you can see, you can breathe, and your legs work fine. Uh, but that's just little things. And you see a car going by, and what's that car? Learn about it. The reason why one of the reasons I want to get CDL is not because I necessarily want to be a heavy truck driver for a living, although it would improve our financial situations a little bit while I go back to school. It's because I don't know how they work. I don't know how big vehicles like that work. For those out of the country, CDL means commercial driver's license. Think big rigs and things with one chassis larger than 26 feet or heavier than 13 tons. It's one of the reasons why I got a motorcycle license. One of the big reasons was because I didn't know how they operate. I knew nothing about motorcycles. So I'm like, well, I'll take this Motorcycle Safety Foundation basic rider course. Everyone recommends it. And it was a fantastic course, and I learned a lot. It's one of the reasons I have a general studies degree. It's because I keep going, oh, well, what about that? It's one of the reasons I know how to brew mead. It's because I just got curious. So infinite curiosity, and never be ignorant. Never rest on your laurels. If you see something that you don't know, go look into it. It's that old joke about you going to Wikipedia looking for one thing, and then 6 hours later you're deep into something else. What's the problem with that? So you just spent like 6 hours learning and proving yourself, being a better human. How awesome is that? So yeah, and by the way, I'm doing all these videos because we are taking off. We're going to Vermont for 2 days, and we're just going to stay in a cheap but solid motel. And we're just going to enjoy Lake Champlain and take a tour of Lake Champlain Chocolate Company. And yeah. So anyway, yeah, remember, ignorance is not an excuse. There are plenty of things that you can do to make yourself better, and learning is one of them.